Always wear your personal protective equipment and always have a licensed, insured, and certified trade professional to do the work that is needed. This video is made for entertainment purposes only. Hey guys, so we're just finishing up this house construction-wise. We just had the hardwood installed today, which, by the way, they did a brilliant job. If you look down here at the floor, you see how close these joints are. Like, I'll get closer down. You'll see how close these things are. This is awesome, the kind of work they do. I wish I kind of was here for that. I was in the other room there installing the door, but they did amazing stuff. So anyways, I'm polishing up the walls. I went around and let's take a closer look at this. So what we're trying to do is fix the big divots in the walls. And one of the things to do that is to grab a light, a high powered light, and as you can see, here I just angle it down, you can see the ups and downs, the valleys, the mountains, if you will, the veins in the drywall. And if you go along the side of the drywall, you'll see more of them. And it doesn't really show up as well on camera as it does in person for obvious reasons. But yeah, so to fix drywall, you have to skin it out like a nice, like 1/16, 1/8 at max, depending on the area. And just smooths everything out. So, and what I've done here is I've hooked up my vacuum sander. By the way, I only could find the head, so I had to grab a vacuum hose out of another vacuum, and I have my big vacuum here. I have other hoses too, but they're somewhere in my house, and I can't find them. Anyways, so besides having to organize my tools, I'll do that in a later video. We're gonna sand this wall out. As you can see here, let's let that spool down. As you can see here, all the drywall imperfections have been sanded down. All the mountains, all the valleys, the veins, whatever you want to call them, they're all sanded down. And you'll notice that I do my best to keep the sander at about 45, so when you're sanding, that way when it doesn't go direct, you don't flip it over. And if you go too much on an angle, you're definitely going to flip it over because it's going to start to lift. So I try to keep as much, like you'll see in the video that I made a few mistakes that way. But if I go directly on it, it'll flip. So if I go at a bit of a wider angle, like say closer to a 90 degree, and then keep that on a 45 in a very circular motion, you'll have no issues. And at this point, you're not so much sanding as you are polishing. And that's what the whole thing is about. And I do that with whether it's rough or fine. And this is 220, so it's a lot finer. If I'm sanding a wall on the first coat, it's probably going to be closer to 100 grit. And I'm just going to be going through it. Most of the time I'll just shave it off with the trowel itself, like scrape it, and then I'll use the 100 grit. And then maybe 120, but on the finished coat, for the skimming, as you come across with the blade, you want the 220, and I use a screen. Obviously you have to use a screen with the sanding vacuum, but it makes a huge difference. And people don't give mudding, taping, prepping as much praise as it should, because you're essentially taking a surface that is unfinished, that's rushed, that is rough, that is just a complete disaster, and you're making it flush. You're taking all the highs off, all the valleys are being filled up, and you're polishing it. So I go, typically, if it's a good wall, rough coat, second coat, and then a skim coat, and you're done. Usually that's the way it goes. So you're in the same spot at least 3 times. If it's a bigger spot, like if you have a big valley that you have to take and I'm digressing here. If you have to get a level out and go along the wall, pretend this is my level, and go along the wall to thin it out. So if it's a high, you'll be coming down. So if say it was high and the wall is protruding outward, you're gonna wanna go for every 1/4 of an inch. Let's give it a bad wall. For every 1/4 of an inch, you wanna go at least 3 feet. That way it's not so noticeable. So if I had if it was a high point here, I would be going, actually, since this is a trim piece, I have enough to make it invisible, because I could just pull this out and make the whole wall the same. But if it was just a full wall with no trim to hide it, I would just go about 3 feet from it. Like an 1/8 of an inch, I might do the same, just so it kind of hides it from the eye. And you take your straight edge, like a level or a piece of aluminum, something nice and light, and just skim it upwards. And then again, you have to do the same thing 2 and 3 times. It gets monotonous, but if you want a perfect looking wall, you're gonna have to do it. It's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast. So hope these few little tips and whatnot will help you out. When I was starting out, these are the things that I would buy from tapers, mudders, drywallers, painters. And this wall here is, I would say, 96%. If I wanted it to be 100%, I'd be getting it at my level. I would be skimming it all over again just to make it absolutely perfect. But 96% in my mind, where there's no hills, valleys, veins anywhere, and it's nice and smooth, it's good. Thanks for watching, guys, and I see you in the next one.